Elite Facts presents
7 crazy weapons you won't believe exist.
7.
The corner shot rifle and grenade launcher. Let's start off this list with one of the most practical weapons used in the field today. So, one of the biggest problems facing soldiers in combat has always been the ability to see and fire weapons around corners. This is especially tricky in modern combat that often takes place in urban settings. However, there is a new weapon in use by the US that not only enables them to see and target around corners, but it also allows them to fire from around corners without being in harm's way. This has appropriately been called the corner shot. The weapon comes in 2 versions, a semi-automatic pistol and a grenade launcher. A hinge piece in the center of the weapon enables the barrel to pivot to the left or right while the handle and trigger remain fixed and stationary. A camera is affixed to the weapon as well, which allows soldiers to see what they are shooting at around corners. The corner shot has proven to be so popular that militaries and law enforcement agencies in 15 countries are now using them.
6.
Russian Tsar tank. Next up, we go old school as we take a look at what is essentially a glorified push mower. The Russian Tsar tank was exactly what it looks like, a giant version of those silly 1890s bicycles with the oversized front tires, only with guns and armor. And why not? Push mower blades or not, enemy soldiers will shit at the sight of this crazy bastard coming towards them, and then, step out of the way. Now, it sounds all well and good, doesn't it? Very simplistic yet effective. But the hypothetical problem with the Tsar tanks is exactly what made it awesome looking. If it had ever made it into battle, the 2 Ferris wheel-sized bike tires it relied on would have probably made easy targets. Russian military strategists worried about long-range mortars, but it seems like a length of lead pipe in the spokes probably would have been just as fatal. Besides this one obvious flaw, there is actually an even more fundamental design flaw that ensured the tank literally never made it out of the testing stage. The designers were so focused on the big wheels up front that they completely forgot to take the back wheels into consideration. The 40-ton tank's entire back half was supported by what looked like a single stroller wheel. Basically, they had created a reverse big wheel.
5.
One-wheel tank/ball tank. Now, this one is just downright crazy, considering how tanks usually function. So back in 1936, the horrific memories of the trenches years prior still haunted everyone who lived through that dark period. Texan inventor A.J. Richardson knew what would help them win the next battle, so the idea was to completely change the whole design of a standard tank into the shape of a ball. The logic is flawless. If it can keep a hamster safe from a house cat, surely it is qualified to roll out into no man's land during the most destructive and sophisticated war of its time. Obviously, there wouldn't be a giant hole in the side, so they seem to have the 3 guys inside the hamster ball covered pretty well. But take a gander at the ball in action and you begin to see the problem. Without the helpful window diagram, you'll notice that the guys inside have no way of seeing what the hell's going on outside. And while that may just seem aces for them, what about the poor bastard with the smoking gun directly over his left ear? When the Germans finally got around to building a prototype, it was nothing more than a stripped-down version that was pretty useless in the battlefield. 4. Cannon scooter. So, did you ever want to feel like Batman when he's riding his bat cycle in The Dark Knight? You know, the one that has guns and cannons attached to it? Yeah, that thing was pretty damn cool. Well, apparently those things actually sort of exist. Unfortunately, they're not a part of some awesome-looking superbike. No, these guns and cannons are instead attached to a scooter. It was this need, along with the shadowy influence of the Vespa military-industrial complex, that drove the French to design the ACMA Tropes Aero Portismile 56. The big gun, little scooter concept was intended to give paratroopers light artillery support, and hundreds of these things actually saw duty in Algeria and Indochina. So yeah, suddenly the little moped seems badass now, right? Nah, mopeds are still lame.
3.
Thunder generator. Next up, we have a gun that is something that's straight out of a video game. Like, seriously, the fact that this exists is quite mind-boggling. The thunder generator was first designed by farmers in Israel to scare away potential pests that might destroy their crops, but has since evolved into a non-lethal weapon to disperse crowds. Thanks to the funding from Israel's Ministry of Defense, the thunder generator is able to fire shock waves at people up to 150 feet away. How it does this is by using a mixture of gas, liquefied petroleum, and air, causing them to feel as if they are actually being shot. Again, this product is non-lethal, so no real damage is actually being done. Well, unless you're standing close. If you're within 30 feet of the device, you might experience an extreme amount of pain and some potential permanent damage.
2,
Phaser. Okay, so this one is a bit of a cheat as it's technically not a weapon. I mean, if you whacked someone with the huge thing, it's definitely going to do some damage, but its main purpose is to disable a target rather than hurt them. Developed by the U.S. Department of Defense at Kirkland Air Force Base, the Personal Halting and Stimulation Response Rifle, known more commonly as Phaser, is a non-lethal light-based gun. It was designed to be used by soldiers and law enforcement officials so that they can temporarily blind enemies with focused laser beams. Another added effect is that the two laser beams, which operate at different wavelengths, also disorient people if they look into the light, meaning that they lose almost all combat effectiveness.
1,
The gun shield. Now, this one is something that should work on paper, but suffers from a few design flaws. Before we delve into that, let's talk about the history of it. During the mid-1500s, Italian gunsmith Giovanni Battista believed he finally answered the question men had been asking themselves since the invention of guns. How can I shoot an enemy in front of me without giving him a chance to shoot me back? In 1544, Battista displayed his fantastic invention to King Henry VIII, who was so impressed that he immediately ordered 100 of them to be manufactured for use by his personal bodyguards. The fantastic invention? A shield with a pistol sticking out of it. Before dipping into the negatives of the product, let's look into the positives. First and foremost, the gun shield gave you the obvious advantage of shaping your gun like a shield so that it offers you the same protection as one. However, one thing the designer and Henry VIII didn't count on was the weight of the product. Shields can be pretty heavy. They have to be in order to accommodate all that armor that's keeping you from being dismembered. Also, guns back in those days were muzzle-loaded. Once you took your shot, how are you even supposed to reload the thing without exposing yourself? The logical solution was to carry an additional shield for those occasions, and if it came equipped with some sort of gun, even better. Despite the king's enthusiasm, the gun shield was never a hit, as the product would quickly fade into obscurity. And that's our list. Did we leave any out that you know about? Let us know in the comments below. Please remember to subscribe and tap the bell button to be notified when new videos are uploaded. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.